OTC ASP, I'm ready to pick up then on 191, 192, 193. Roger.
Yes, there are a few cameras out there.
30 seconds. This is Shuttle Launch Control. T-minus 2 hours, 5 minutes and holding. About 23 minutes remaining in this build-in hold as the astronauts John Young and Bob Crippen drive off toward the pad in the astronaut van. They came down, waved to the waiting crowd at the astronaut quarters, which are located in the ONC building here at the Kennedy Space Center, and got the cheers of the crowd as they came out, looking very happy that they are on their way to the pad for which they hope will be the final one on this flight to enter the orbiter and then get on their way about 7 a.m. this morning. Out on the pad at the present time, everything is in readiness in the orbiter for their arrival. Astronaut Lauren Shriver has been there helping prepare, along with the suit technicians, mechanical technicians that form the closeout crew, which do the preparations necessary for their ingress and then closing up the hatchway and readying the access arm so it can be swung away at the proper time in the countdown. This is Shuttle Launch Control, T-minus 2 hours, 5 minutes and holding. At the present time, the astronauts are in their van on the Kennedy Parkway proceeding towards the pad. At the same time, Launch Director George Page has just made a check with the weatherman to ensure that the weather is satisfactory for launch. He got back the information that yes, we are go for launch, and also at our sites at White Sands and at Edwards Air Force Base. The temperature at liftoff is expected to be about 72 degrees, the relative humidity 65%, and the winds will be acceptable coming from the southeast. The relative humidity is one of those important parameters in the weather, primarily because it has to do with the possibility of ice buildup on the tank. The low humidity of 65% is acceptable, and we do not expect to have any problems with frost or ice on the external tank, which is stable at the present time and has been for more than an hour now in the replenish mode. This means that just very small amounts of liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen are being added to the tank as it sits there at the flight levels. Stand by 30 seconds. This is Shuttle Launch Control at T-minus 2 hours, 5 minutes and holding. Just a little over 5 minutes remaining before we come out of this build-in hold. At the present time, the astronauts have arrived on the pad surface. Their truck or Astrovan is parking, and they should be getting out of it and moving toward the elevators, which will take them up to the level of the orbiter access arm, the 195-foot level. In the meantime, on the pad, everything is in ready. There has been a go given for ingress of the astronauts into the orbiter. During the time that they were suiting up and leaving the ONC building to come out there, a number of things were also done at the pad in addition to preparing the orbiter to receive them. For instance, the liquid hydrogen dewar for the white room, the very clean area in which they will be prepared for entry into the orbiter. They're just entering into the white room at the present time. Everything in readiness for them to get into the orbiter. Astronaut John Young will be the first in, and in the tradition of the Navy, the other night when we had to scrub the launch, he was the last to leave also. The suit technician taking a look at the suits and getting the helmet ready to place on his head. The first thing to go on will be the Snoopy cap, black Snoopy cap that he puts over his ears and is used for comfort inside the helmet. He's now putting his helmet in place over his head, as is pilot Bob Crippen. They will not be completely locked in place and checked until after they are into the orbiter seats. And they are hooked up to the life support system there. The visors are kept up. All of the lines are checked to make sure that they are in the right places, that there's nothing that's pinched by putting the helmet into the socket. And they're preparing now for their ingress into the orbiter. Getting into the orbiter is not the easiest thing. You don't walk just upright through a door. It's a fairly small opening in which they have to crawl on their hands and knees over a little metal bridge which protects the doorway from anything dinging it or otherwise bothering the seals that are around the door that help maintain the cabin pressure during their 54.5-hour mission. At the present time, both astronauts John Young and Bob Crippen have their helmets on. John Young just about to get into the orbiter. Looks like he was gesturing, is it okay? And yes, it is okay. He is crawling through the doorway now into the orbiter. We'll be walking along the platforms, which are really along the back wall of the crew compartment, and moving up to his seat. Pilot Bob Crippen gives a little wave to the closeout crew in the white room, which won't be able to follow him in there. Part of that crew, though, is inside. Astronaut Lauren Shriver, who's one of the support astronauts, helping with the ingress. They are inside of the orbiter now and getting ready to get into their seats. Swinging up into those seats, which of course are lying in a horizontal position rather than a vertical position that seats normally are in, is not the easiest thing to do. They have just a couple of little toe holds and hand holds, and they swing themselves up into there. And the next step will be the connection of their biomedical sensors, their headsets to the comm side of the circuits, and their life support systems to the air side. They use a sort of a normal breathing mixture of air, unlike the pure oxygen that was used during the previous manned spaceflight programs. So astronauts John Young and Bob Crippen are on board, everything going very smoothly as we move toward pickup of the countdown at the T-minus 2 hour and 5 minute point. This is Shuttle Launch Control. Stand by 30 seconds. This is Shuttle Launch Control. The clock has started, and we're at T-minus 2 hours, 4 minutes, 40 seconds, and counting. Astronauts John Young and Bob Crippen being placed in their suit. The White Room crew is in the process of wiping down the hatchway, which will be closed up to ensure that they get the absolutely best seal that they can there. Later on, that cabin will be pressurized, the seals will be checked for integrity to ensure that they are holding properly for the flight. One of the first things that happens here as we once more begin the count is that the main propulsion system helium tanks will be brought up to their flight pressure of 4,400 pounds per square inch. Everything going smoothly, the weather looking good, all aspects of the shuttle looking good as we prepare for a liftoff at 7 a.m. this morning. We're the countdown at T-minus 2 hours, 3 minutes, 40 seconds, and counting. This is Shuttle Launch Control.
OTC, CO, CDR, PLTs on the comm. How y'all doing? Well, we hope.
This is Shuttle Launch Control at T-minus 1 hour, 58 minutes, and counting. A little bit of chatter occurring as the crew hooks up their comm equipment to the orbiter and begins to talk with the people that they need to do their checks with.
Drivers coming on.
One of the first things that was said was by the orbiter test conductor for Rockwell, Chuck Hannon, who said that we hope we give you a better show tonight. And Bob Crippen came back and said we hope we give you a better show. They also were told that they hope they didn't mind stale sandwiches, that they hadn't had a chance to change out the box lunches which are on board. Astronaut Crippen said we've brought along a new turkey sandwich. Everything going smoothly as we go through the steps necessary to get us to a launch at 7 a.m. this morning.
CGLS 212.
Go ahead, CGLS.
Stand by 30 seconds. This is Shuttle Launch Control at T-minus 43 minutes, 20 seconds, and counting. At the present time, the cabin leak check is in work and apparently proceeding along satisfactorily. That is not completed until approximately the T-minus 30-minute point in the countdown. The closeout crew is finishing up the work which they need to do at the level of the hatch that gives access to the astronauts, and then they will prepare the swing arm to be moved back at the T-minus 7-minute point in the countdown. The only other arm which has to be moved prior to liftoff is what's called the GOX vent arm or beanie cap. This is used for gaseous nitrogen, which is sprayed on the very top of the external tank to try and prevent any buildup of ice at that point where the liquid hydrogen vents, liquid oxygen vents from the external tank. Both of those tanks have been at their flight mass for some time now, and in the replenish mode where we add just enough to the tanks to keep them at the proper level as some of them of the liquids boil away. This is just natural that they should boil away because of the very, very cold temperatures of them. Liquid hydrogen, for instance, boils at minus 423 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. At the present time, the closeout crew up in the orbiter access arm is making sure that the thermal protection system is in the proper configuration there. They have to actually screw some plugs into it, which are threaded into the TPS, which is on that hatchway and was put on here in the orbiter processing facility just several months ago. At the present time, everything moving along very smoothly in our countdown. The booster test conductor has asked to calibrate the solid rocket motor pressure transducers. These are the instruments which are necessary to provide the information which separates the solid boosters during the flight once they have burned out. So it's essential that those pressure transducers be working properly to prevent any premature separation. The pre-flight alignment of the inertial measurement unit is underway, and that will be completed at the end of the 20-minute build-in hold, which comes up at the T-minus 20-minute point. The range safety officer has reported that the Eastern Test Range command test is complete, and Bob Crippen is about to begin the auxiliary power unit water boiler pre-activation. At the present time, everything going along very smoothly in our countdown. The count presently stands at T-minus 40 minutes, 23 seconds, and counting. This is Shuttle Launch Control. This is Shuttle Launch Control at T-minus 35 minutes and counting. At the present time, the closeout crew is finishing up the various preparations necessary on the orbiter access arm. They have just swung away the portion of that arm which provides the seal between the very clean room atmosphere of the White Room and the orbiter. It has a sort of an inflatable seal that presses against the orbiter just slightly to ensure that we not get any undue amount of dirt or contamination from wind blowing things up there in the White Room. We try to maintain the integrity of that because that is the area that people pass through into the vehicle. At the present time, everything going very smoothly. We're waiting for verification that the cabin vent was satisfactory, the pressurization was satisfactory. Then Commander John Young was asked to prevent the cabin vent. At this time, he opens the vents and allows the pressure to leak out at a predetermined rate. We're waiting for confirmation that the landing sites are prepared and ready for the launch, and expect that they are. The S-band telemetry system has been switched to high power, and the MILA tracking site, that's the tracking site on Merritt Island, is adjusting their uplink command signals to the proper level. The ground launch sequencer mainline computer programs are in the process of being activated. At the present time, everything going smoothly. We're looking for a launch on time at 7 a.m. this morning. The countdown stands at T-minus 33 minutes, 10 seconds, and counting. This is shuttle launch control.
Blinking yellow, left and right hand on.
This is shuttle launch control at T-minus 21 minutes, 42 seconds, and counting. We're presently preparing to enter the planned 20-minute hold at the T-minus 20-minute point in the countdown. The astronaut John Young has just been asked to close the cabin vents, and they will repressurize the cabin at that time. The primary computer data is being transferred to the backup computer in order for both of them to have the same date. In case of a primary computer system failure, the backup computer will take over command of the shuttle during the launch period. During this 20-minute hold period, there are a number of things which must be done. One of them will be to reset the clock, the countdown clock, and so you will see a movement of that of approximately 51 seconds in order to bring us out at a liftoff at exactly 7 a.m. this morning. We're coming up on that particular hold at this time, about 39 seconds away from it. The weather aircraft will be active at this time. We have a number of aircraft which will be in the air. They include weather aircraft and also chase planes. The chase planes will not take off until later at the T-minus 9-minute hold period, with the final plane being launched at T-minus 5 minutes with a very, very tight constraint there. Coming up on the hold, T-minus 20 minutes and holding. This is shuttle launch control at T-minus 20 minutes and holding approximately 1 minute and a half before coming out of that built-in hold. The NASA test conductor has conducted a check of the major managers responsible for tonight's launch and determined that they are ready to support the launch, as are astronauts John Young and Bob Crippen. The orbiter test conductor, the booster test conductor, external tank test conductor, range safety officer, safety, and other engineers. The NASA test conductor has ordered the countdown to resume, and we will be resuming in just about 52 seconds from now. Going down to a liftoff on time at 7 a.m. We have no weather problems here or at the primary landing sites. Everything continuing to go smoothly. We will count down from this point to the T-minus 9-minute point in the countdown. And at that point, we will hold again for 10 minutes. One of the main things that will happen first in that hold will be the movement of the GOX vent arm or beanie cap back from the external tank. Just a few seconds away, about 15 seconds away from picking up the countdown at the T-minus 20-minute point in the count. About 5 seconds. And we're at T-minus 20 minutes and counting. A purge of the fuel cells, which provide both electricity for the orbiter and drinking water for the crew, is being performed. At this point, the computer is changed to a program known as Major Mode 101, which is the terminal countdown configuration. At this point, the primary computer is compared with the proper onboard computer to ensure that they are ready for launch. The NASA convoy conductor has verified that the landing convoy at the KSC shuttle landing facility is ready. In case of a return to launch site abort, the landing would be on runway 15. All of the other launch sites also have confirmed that they are ready to go. Just prior to coming out of the hold, we received verification that the pre-flight alignment of the inertial measurement unit had also been completed. And so everything moving along smoothly. The countdown at T-minus 18 minutes, 56 seconds, and counting. This is shuttle launch control.
Okay, and we'll go to manual transition of VSS to Ops 1. CDR when you're ready. Okay, BLT, we're putting that in work. OSC, OTC? COSC? COSC, go ahead. Step 633, turn on your own TVC active 1 and 2 power. Yes, in order. CDPS, OTC, go ahead. 641. That's affirmative, we have verified that. Okay. OTC, this is CDPS. Go ahead. We verified tracking, all 4 strings. That's good, we're okay, pilot, configure the PAS and DFS horizontal stick displays. Roger, that's in work. 656, quality, in work. Copy.
Stand by 30 seconds. This is shuttle launch control at T-minus 17 minutes and counting. We had a little cheer go up here in the control center at the Kennedy Space Center when it